Good evening and welcome to Dalmadinac Park in Spearwood for midweek NPL WA football in the West as Cockburn City host Gwelup, Croatia in round 7 of the men's competition. My name's Tommy Dolman. It's great to have your company on this winter's even. It's a little chilly down here in Perth's southern suburbs, but we should have a pretty good game on our hands tonight among a full program of men's football to sink your teeth into tonight across the Football West YouTube channels and Facebook pages, all of which carry a certain degree of weight as we pass the halfway mark of the first phase of the competition. The home side started 2020 fairly well. They've hit a roadblock of sorts in the past couple of weeks, having gone winless in 3, but that said, they did give away a 2-goal lead here against Sorrento recently, while at the weekend they suffered a narrow loss to Informed Glory. Gwelup, meanwhile, have had a debut dream season so far at the top table of WA local football. 5 wins in a row following their opening day draw with Inglewood, which leaves them at the summit of the division and 3 points clear of nearest chasers Floriat. So some team news for tonight. 4 changes for Cockburn in total to the 1-0 defeat against Glory last week. Daniel Doles, Jesse Lazaro, Anthony Skorich and Ryan Pratt all depart from the team. And 4 changes coming back in with Ali Galami, Julian Tellez, Daniel Araya, and Liam Murray is back in the team for Cockburn for the first time since round 4 in 2018 after long-term injury. For Gwelup, they make just the 1 change with Shubham Makala coming out of the team and Josh Sampson coming into midfield to add some fresh legs into the rotation. The referee tonight is Arvin Shanmaganathan, and he'll be assisted here by David Avison and Jess Bird. So should be a good game this one. 2 teams who like to attack and who have an abundance of talented young players lining up for them. Can host Cockburn regain their place in the top 6 with 3 points tonight, or Gwelup, Croatia maintain their unbeaten record in season 2020. As we just go through the final checks here, Cockburn City playing in their all-blue home kit, Gwelup in their changed all-black kit tonight. It's Wednesday night football live in the West. Cockburn City and Gwelup, Croatia. Cockburn kicking to the left, to the right of your screen, and Hazani Sinclair nearly chips in on Julian Tellez and steals possession straight away. Frantic start to this one. Here's a first touch for Liam Murray. Araya. Cockburn looking to get on the front foot early. Possession breaks down and John Steins will retreat all the way back to Kieran Salinger, who goes long and upfield. McManus. Hargreaves. John Steins. A clip forward is cut out by Baker, and eventually the clearance affected by Stevens. As far as Woodcock, back to Baker. Cockburn looking to settle on possession a little bit, and in the end Baker's pass a little wide of Woodcock, and Gwelup will get the throw. Edwards, Hargreave, right back, Sinclair, McManus. Outside the clip to the back post, looking for John Steins. The header away. A pretty good one from Daniel Santich. A teammate there will get to the ball first, and in the end, out of play that goes. It was Ali Galami who went back to Daniel Santich there, and into touch it went. So a frantic start to this one. Should be a good tempo in this one tonight with 2 young teams, as Kieran Salinger, normally right back, a former ECU Joondalup defender, playing on the left tonight. The throw's a long one, looking for McManus. Clearance was away by Woodcock, I think it was, back there, but it'll come straight back from Gwelup. In fact, it was Baker who initiated that clearance, and then Govan, the skipper's long ball, will run all the way through to Luke Radonich. A long-standing shot stopper at the club, Luke Radonich, played every game over the last couple of years. Just the 3 clean sheets in 2019, once of Armadale and Sterling as well. Woodcock, clip forward looking for the run of Murray. Diving in and trying to win possession back there is Murray, and he's down behind the play. Hopefully he's back to his feet quickly. We did mention it's his first appearance in the senior team for a couple of years, and he thankfully is back to his feet and moving relatively freely. The Gwelup come the other way. Salinger's clip forward looking for Daniel Stones, who tried to drop him behind. And Daniel Sansage's pass is charged down, and that'll run out for a throw-in on this near side touchline. John Steins. Going in was Christian Sancic. Good challenge according to the referee, and then Hargreaves slides in and was a little late there on the former Perth Soccer Club midfielder, who then tried to take the set piece quickly and took it a little out of position. Referee Arvin Shan Merganathan was all over that one, and that allows Gwelup to get some numbers back. Pretty good start to the season that Cockburn made. They won 2 of their first 3 games and then drew the 4th with a late equaliser at Inglewood, but a draw and a loss since then last week to Informed Glory has just put the brakes on their season a little. They'll be desperate to bounce back, and a win tonight may just put them back into that top half of the table, depending on how other results go, as Sampson, the inclusion for Gwelup tonight, links up nicely with McManus. Clearance was poked away there, and then challenge came back in from Hargreaves with interest on Santich, and that'll run all for a goal kick again to be taken by Radonjic. And Gwelup, on the other hand, with 5 wins in their first 6 games this season. They drew that opening round game at home to Inglewood United, and then 5 wins since. The last 3 probably not the most convincing and brilliant that we've seen Gwelup this season, but we've got a couple of late winners at Armadale, and they came from behind 2-0 down to win 3-2 at Balcatta on the weekend. Very clinical performance against Florida as well, as McManus lifts one forward. Tellez intercepts. Stevens into the feet of Cameron Edwards in midfield. Cockburn trying to play out the back, and they should be able to get out pretty nicely here. That's a nice pass from Galami to release Christian Sancic, who's got a couple of runners ahead of him. He's also got Daniel Sancic supporting out wide, but it was good defending from John Steins to get back and get a toe in. Sinclair, John Steins, and this time Sancic is back and getting a toe in to deny his opposite central midfielder. Sancic, that's a lovely switch of the play, and Riley Woodcock's in behind here. He'll clip that one towards the back post. Murray's there. The header was back across the face of goal. No Cockburn midfielder was arriving and banking on it at the edge of the area. They may have had a chance to get a strike on goal if that was the case. And now Gwelup will try and launch the counter forward at the other end, but that's a very long ball from Steins. In fact, Sinclair was nearly quick enough to get on the end of it, so possibly just holding up in the air slightly, that pass. Great to have football under lights tonight here at Cockburn. Always a nice setting, and always nice to get some games in during the week as well. First midweek round of the season. Talk that they may be another midweek round as we approach the second phase of the competition. Just adds a different vibe at night, and with a 7:30 kickoff, the crowd has been building pretty nicely here. It was fairly quiet when I did arrive, but Good to see some people arriving through the gate still. To my right here in the southern suburbs of Perth. Great facilities down here at Cockburn with the bar and the nice pitch as well, as McManus tries to just lift one through for Sinclair, but Stevens, the former Balcatta defender, was more than aware of that. Cam Edwards. Ball forward for Galami's a decent one. Murray was running ahead of him. Pass was very wide, but Murray still good enough to get back to that one first. Here he is again, Murray. Pass wasn't to anybody in particular on the edge of the area, and once again Gwelup will try and counter. They've been looking to do that quite often so far tonight, but passing was a little slow and play does break down, and then the early release from Salinger, a very disappointing one. He's the never-present at full-back, Kieran Salinger. He usually plays on the right, as said before, but he has been playing on the left in recent weeks with Andrew Scaldaferro coming back into the team. Sam Mitchardson playing in the centre of defence with Rocco Pizzata still out. Has trained over the past week or so, Rocco Pizzata, but with the midweek game, Taki Nicolaides opting to make sure Pizzata's good to go for the big game with Perth this week. Also a chance that Dumba Mikeche may be back in action as well, having been sidelined for the past 2 or 3 weeks with a minor hamstring injury, as well as Cockburn look to come forward. Galami's pass coming inside is Woodcock here. Now that's a nice little tickle through for Santich, who'll get the shot off early, and sliding in there was Govan, who did just enough to take the sting out of the shot. Scaldaferro. McManus. Sinclair. Possession breaks down for Gwelup once again, and stepping in there and fouling Galami was Steins. Araya. Turning, loves that left foot of his, David Araya. Very nice technical trio in the centre of the park for Cockburn with Christian Santich and Cam Edwards, and David Araya makes it very pleasing on the eye for them to watch, as Murray does well to hold up the play. Woodcock's crossing the middle's too close to the keeper, and they'll be caught pretty comfortably by Connor Campbell, who has kept 2 clean sheets in 2020 so far. Connor Campbell, key save from Christos Venus at the end of last week's game with Balcatta to preserve that 3-2 win that they did have. Murray. Pass forward for Araya is a pretty good one. Going over was Araya. Now, is this a free kick or a penalty? It looks as though Arvin Sean Muganathan has decided to point for a free kick, and it's going to be right on the edge of the area. And Christian Santich will take an interest in this one straight away. We know what he's capable of from this range. Scored a super free kick against Bayswater here earlier in the season in round 2. Wallmark's back, Araya and Santich over the ball. It'll be Santich to drive, deflected, and Hargreaves was able to lift that one clear. It'll be headed back forward by Edwards, but straight to Scaldaferro. Once again, Gwelup will try and counter down this right-hand side as McManus looks to release Gwelup's top scorer, Sinclair. He's got the pace to get on the end of this. Radonich did well to come out, make himself big and make a good block in the end. So action at both ends. Looked as though Sinclair was going to sneak onto the end of that chance, but Radonjic was out in the nick of time to prevent any danger in Cockburn conceding the first goal this evening. Santic's pass forward again. Murray had his back to the ball and lost his bearings a little bit. Great to see Murray back in the starting lineup after those 2 years injured. Round 4 in 2018, as I touched on before. Has played 3 games in the under-20s and scored in his last 2. So he does come into this one in a little bit of goal-scoring form. Cockburn could do with that little bit of punch in the final third. They are the 3rd lowest scorers of the division, but their defence has been pretty good as well, so that's counteracted that in a way. Hargreaves clipped forward, looking there for the runner Scouter Farrow, who got forward from full back and won a corner off Baker there, I think it was, who was getting back and sliding in. Well, gift a first set piece of the evening to Gwelup, Croatia, the league leaders. Daniel Stein's the man for the set piece. Blair Govan arriving. He scored from a set piece last week, did the skipper, and it's headed in his direction. It was good clearance away by the Cockburn defender there. I think it was Tellez who got his head in there. McManus will lift it back forward. Radonjic can gather pretty easily, and Govan's still down, and that'll give players a chance to just catch a bit of breath here. Like a pretty heavy collision between Govan and Tellez, but doesn't look like there's any lasting damage, and the referee will drop the ball and Radonjic will get us restarted in a matter of moments. Now Araya is after this, and Campbell had to be off his line. Good communication in the end, as it turned out. Stevens. Baker. Cameron Edwards. Over the head of Daniel Santic, unfortunately. This, of course, is the seniors of the NPL WA. The 18s and the 20s games were played last night. Both of those games were won by Gwelup, Croatia. And both of these teams are doing quite well in the 20s this season, sitting 3rd and 4th respectively after last night's games. And this is actually a first meeting in the NPL WA era, as Govan's clearance is charged down by Santic. He's going to run at the defender now. Santic will toe past off the post to the back post. Galami striking. That might have been creeping in as well. It was cleared away by Govan on the line, who made up for his error. And Gwelup survive a real scare there. Just a little bit casual from Blair Govan there, and in the end, as Galami was arriving, he was able to affect the clearance, and now pass back to dodgy one, and Woodcock will score in the opening goal. Well, another calamitous moment at the back for Gwelup. Kieran Salinger's pass was straight under the boot of Campbell, and Woodcock couldn't miss from there. Cockburn 1, Gwelup 0. Well, what a start this is for the hosts. Riley Woodcock with his first goal of the NPL WA season, and he won't get an easier one all year. You wouldn't have thought. It was Salinger's pass across the penalty area, and it looked as though Campbell just took his eye off it, and A ball rolled under his foot and Woodcock was left with an absolute gift, so a real turn up for the books this evening. And Gwelup go behind once again for the second week in a row on the road. Cockburn have looked really bright so far this evening. They do have a pretty good record down here in Spearwood. Just the 2 home games in season 2020, but yet to lose either. The third game tonight, of course, and they're leading by a goal to nil against the league leaders. Edwards. Turning. Araya. Clip forward looking for the overlapping run of Daniel Santic, who's onside here and has got bodies in the area. Crosses a very deep one. Christian Santic may be able to keep this one alive. He does. Standing up, Scouter Farrow, and then getting the better of him. It's Christian Santic running into the area. Fumbled by Campbell, and Araya nearly pokes it in. Gwelup with a very shaky start at the back tonight, it has to be said. Cockburn could be 2 to the good here. Got the tails up the home team. Corner will go into the near post, headed away on that occasion by McManus, I think it was. In fact, it was Sampson who headed to McManus on that right-hand side, but the ball evaded him, and into touch it goes, and back it comes from Cockburn once more through Galami and now Stevens, who scored on the final day of last season's regular season against Bayswater. Actually did ensure that Bayswater wouldn't make the top 4 cup at the end of the season. Here he is again, the former Balcatta and Perth Glory youth player, Baker. Edwards under pressure from Sampson, who fouled Cockburn skipper. Another young former Perth Glory youth player, Josh Sampson. Nice passer of the ball. A couple of cameo appearances, having made his debut against Florida a couple of weeks ago at the Croatian Sporting Complex. Stevens has Baker outside of him. Chance to put in the cross if he likes. Murray's there, and acrobatically Galami comes in and drives, and didn't quite cash it as he'd like, but Liam Murray went flying in the air there, and had he made contact, what a dream return to football that would have been. And then Galami running in behind him just didn't quite catch the volley. Once again, the home team continuing to press. Cockburn City 1, Gwelup Croatia 0. Live on the Football West Facebook page and YouTube channel tonight. One of 6 games across round 7 of the division, as we well and truly enter the second half of the first phase of the season. Tellers forward, Salinger down to the feet of Hargreaves, and now Scouter-Farrow. Very versatile player, Andrew Scouter-Farrow, joined the club this season from Florida Athena, where he was since the start of the NPL WA era back in 2014. Did start on the weekend with Rocco Pitsata missing, but mainly cameos before that. Sampson's clip looks for John Steins. He'll get there eventually after Tellers' header, and now his ball is looking for Sinclair forward. Woodcock should be able to hook over his shoulder. He does, only as far as Sampson. Last touch off Woodcock there. Sinclair tries to roll Stevens there. Half shouts for a spot kick there from Gwelup. Nothing doing. Hargreaves tries to drive, and now Cockburn can counter once more. Murray just couldn't quite get the better of Govan there. And once again, McManus is pickpocketed by Cockburn's midfield, who I did touch on that midfield trio of Edwards and Santich and Araya, and they've been very dynamic and very impressive tonight with ball at feet. Daniel Santich, that was, slipped as he attempted to chest down, and Gwelup will come back with possession once more. Steins, rather soft foul paid against Ali Galami there, who protests but needs to get back into the game, with Gwelup taking it pretty promptly. John to Daniel Steins. Sampson. Scouterferro running on his outside. Had to just check back to receive the pass, and now the cross comes in and is charged down, and Gwelup will stay on the front foot for the time being. Good play there from Daniel Santich to take it off the toes of John Steins, and still going down this right-hand side. Santich clipping inside for Araya, and Daniel Santich continues his run. He's got Murray in the middle on the edge of the area. He's got Woodcock, who plays in for Araya. Still here for Cockburn. Clip over the top for Santich. He's offside though. Just couldn't quite stay on side after making that forward run, Daniel Santich. Young player Daniel Santich, who's come through the 18s and the 20s here at Dalmatinach Park. 21 appearances in 2019. Didn't get on the score sheet, but looked very lively so far this season. Real pace down the flanks to Cockburn to go with that dynamic midfielder, and based on the games I've seen so far, it looks as though they're just missing that play to put the ball in the back of the net. Perhaps Liam Murray can be that player once he returns to full fitness. Daniel Santich forward. Govan heads clear. Only as far as Cam Edwards. Santich with the risky switch. It was nearly intercepted by McManus, but Baker was good enough to work it out with Stevens, and now they'll launch down this left-hand side again, but Gwelup are swarming back in defence. Wearing that changed all-black kit tonight, Gwelup, Croatia, instead of the usual Croatian checks that we're normally accustomed to. Woodcock. Christian Santich. Lovely touch to get away from Hargreaves, and Santich drives at the defence, but stepping in there was John Steins, who's had to be really alert to those driving runs off Christian Santich so far tonight. Such an incredible boost it was for Cockburn to get Christian Santich back. He left Perth Soccer Club, of course, at the end of last season to join Dandenong in the NPL Victoria. And then obviously with coronavirus hitting and the break that followed, Christian decided to return back to WA and has stepped into the NPL here in WA as if he's never left. Very good acquisition for the Cockerels. Edwards. Woodcock. Pass in for Christian Sancic stepping in. Hargreaves. Christian Sancic still on the ball here. He's going to use Baker out wide, whose ball's a low one. Murray got his head to it, but couldn't get over it. And loop that straight over the fence and into the row of cars behind the goal down there. Had a couple of sights of goal on his return tonight, Liam Murray. Very proud club down here at Dalmatinach Park, Cockburn City. They were founded back in 1929 as Spearwood Rovers, actually, before two teams formed in the 1960s. Cockburn United entering the Semi-Pro League in 1962 before Spearwood Dalmatinach did in 1963. Clearance from Radnich was a little shaky and it presented an opportunity for Hargreaves to find Steins, who goes to ground. Nothing doing there in terms of a foul. Just looks as though Steins lost his footing, and now Cockburn can counter once more as Christian Sancic finds the feet of Liam Murray, who tries to hold that up as best as he can, but just lost out to weight of numbers in the end. Just to finish on what we were saying with Cockburn a minute ago, they did have varied success with those two clubs, particularly with Spearwood Dalmatinach in the 1980s with 3 consecutive league titles, but then the clubs did reunite again in 1998. Mixing their grounds between here and Beale Park as Christian Sancic fouls Daniel Steins. Two sets of brothers, of course, playing tonight, one for each respective team. Woodcock, the goal scorer, skipping away, pass forward, looking for Araya. Nearly did come back to the Cockburn number 10, but Gwelup managed to sort things out back there. Ball from John Steins there, a little behind Hazani Sinclair. Just get the feeling the game's settled down a little bit after that frenetic opening, with both teams showing that technical ability and trying to get the ball from end to end quickly. Cockburn are faring the better so far, leading courtesy of that Riley Woodcock goal. Once of Sydney FC and Perth Glory, Riley Woodcock. Also an Australian under-17, under-19 and under-23 international. Actually played at the for Australia, at the under-17s World Cup back in 2011. McManus, touch around the corner from Sampson. Steins goes to ground. Maybe a little easily, but referee calls that one a foul, and it's taken quickly, and with McManus driving, it could have deflected anywhere, and in the end it hit Stevens and went behind for a corner. good healthy crowd down here at Dalmadinac Park. Quite happy at the moment with the way the game is panning out, or at least the majority of them are anyway. Results stay as they are. They may just jump back into the top 6 by the end of tonight. Work to do still though as Steins puts in an outswinging corner. Govan nearly got his head to it. The clearance only as far as Sinclair, who leant back on it slightly, swung the left boot, and over the bar it went. So he's had the best 2 chances for Gwelup tonight so far, Hazani Sinclair. American centre forward who actually played here last season with Cockburn and really coming back to his own stomping ground and making an impact. Galami. Tickle around the corner from Murray. Santic continued his run. Murray will go up for the header with Salinger. He hooks over his shoulder and couldn't quite generate the power to test Campbell. Tellez. Long ball forward into the channel. Should be comfortably dealt with by Mitchinson, but Araya applied good pressure to close down the former Bayswater defender. Galami. Edwards. Back to Galami, one of 4 changes tonight for Cockburn. Former Armidale and Perth Glory NPL player. Baker. Woodcock plays a nice looking 1-2 with Edwards, but Scouter-Ferro steps in and wins possession back for Gwelup, who should switch this here to the near side. It does eventually arrive at the feet of Salinger. Cockburn have done a really good job of clogging up the centre of the park so far and making Gwelup play wide and around them, but now McManus gets a chance to drive through the centre of the field. He's got support from Salinger, who goes forward, and then a pass from Hargreaves. He spotted something that nobody else did clearly, and it puts Gwelup on the back foot temporarily. Eventually play breaks down again. Challenge from Santic. Daniel was a tough one on Hargreaves. He won the ball cleanly though. The last touch was off the Cockburn player. Salinger will wind up a long throw, looking for the head of Sinclair, who does get a skull to it, and diving into clear with Santic, only as far as Salinger again, whose ball to the back post was a dangerous-looking one, headed away by Tellez, and Hargreaves will be first to the loose ball. And Gwelup will get a throw over on that far side. He'll look to launch attack once more as cross did come in from Scaldaferro, but he was in an offside position, I think, there, as indicated by Jess Bird's flag over on that far side. He was, upon receiving that return pass, sorry. Really has been a meteoric rise through the divisions for Gwelup, Croatia. They have invested a lot in the playing list and in the club in general, but it doesn't always guarantee success, and they've done really well to create a well-oiled unit, that's for sure. Taki Nicolaides has been with the club for 3 seasons and has really taken them to the next level. Woodcock, Murray, pass across the area looking for Galami, who almost reeled that in. Sliding in was Sampson, and now John Steins will try and get away again. He's only got Sinclair ahead of him, so has to check back and switch to play back out wide to McManus. Stepping in there was Murray, a little clumsily there on Sampson there, I think it was. In fact, it was Declan Hargreaves. And Daniel Steins tried to take that one from the wrong place, so play will come back. Just to finish on Gwelup, they've only lost 7 games in the league since they were promoted to State League Division 2 back in 2017, so really has been a incredible rise. And they're currently leading the division at the moment. They trail by a goal to 0 here for the moment as Steins puts the free kick in. Hargreaves will try and head that back. Steins forward, jumping was Sinclair. The volley comes in, charged down by Tellez, who was in the right place at the right time. Might have been going wide in any case, but a block was needed nevertheless. Tellez wasn't to know, and it will present Steins with another set piece, aimed towards penalty spot, won by Tellez again, I think it was in there, who's been busy in the air. Driving forward was McManus, and I think Radonich had that covered, but it looked as though it may have been dipping for a moment. Govan switched the play for McManus. Sliding in Edwards, and Stevens will clear upfield. It's wide of Liam Murray though. Closing stages of this opening 45 minutes. Cockburn City 1, Gwelup Croatia 0. A really lively game so far, this one. Home team will be hoping to get through to half-time unscathed as Daniel Steins toes forward. Appeals for a foul by John Steins in particular, but nothing doing. Cockburn have looked pretty solid at the back tonight so far. They've defended well in the air and have been a little desperate at times in terms of a couple of the blocks from Tellez in particular when it's required. Sliding in there was Govan, and Harvin Shanmaganathan let that one run again. He's been keen to let the play continue tonight at all costs, which is usually a good thing. Scaldafarro, McManus looking to link up on this right-hand side. Fullback continued the overlapping Rungan. Diving in was Baker. Now, referee is jogging over and can't quite see from here what that was. I think that was a yellow card shown to Baker. It was, so Brecken Baker will be the first player in the book this evening. And that challenge will present Gwelup with another set piece. Cockburn needing to maintain their focus here. Once again, Daniel Steins will stroll over and take it. Everyone forward for Gwelup bar Andrew Scaldafarro and Josh Sampson. Declan Hargreaves on the edge of the penalty area. Ball's clipped in towards the penalty spot again. I think it may have come off the head of Sinclair in the end. Anyway, it was cleared upfield by Christian Sancic. Hargreaves. Well done from Murray there to close down his opposite marker, but Hargreaves recovered well and got the ball into touch. Cockburn in no real rush to take this one, knowing that half-time's close by. Throw down the line for Murray, who battles well for possession and wins another throw. Murray. Baker's cross, another throw for Cockburn. Header away from Gwelup's defence. Clearance from Sampson wasn't a particularly accurate one. It'll eventually drop to the feet of Daniel Sancic, whose switch the play was a little loose. Daniel Steins. Hargreaves. Mitchinson. Looking to run it. Galami there. Sampson. Tries to return to Mitchinson, who's on this left touchline. Does well to get it through the legs of Daniel Sancic there, but supporting was Christian, and referee blows a half on the opening 45 minutes. Cockburn City 1, Gwelup Croatia 0 here in round 7 of the men's NPL WA. A gift of a goal, really, in all honesty, provided to Riley Woodcock midway through the half, and it's what separates the teams so far. They've looked really lively, particularly in midfield tonight. Have Cockburn looking to bounce back from a winless run of 3 games against the league leaders. Gwelup's best chances have come through their leading scorer, Hazani Sinclair. Good save from Luke Radonich first before a left-footed toe poke over the bar, but Gwelup will have to come from behind again in the second half if they're going to maintain their position at the summit of the lead, because Cockburn are winning by a goal to 0 here. We'll be back in 10-15 minutes for the second half. Welcome back to the second half of this round 7 NPL WA clash between Cockburn City and Gwelup, Croatia. The home teams springing a bit of surprise at the moment. A 1-0 lead going into the second half provided to them by Riley Woodcock. Doesn't look like any changes are going to happen for either team. Both teams are actually out quite early for the second half, just waiting on the referees to get us underway. We'll run through some of the half-time scores across the grounds in this round 7 midweek round. Just once we get underway here. If you want to watch the games later tonight or tomorrow morning and don't want to know the scores from elsewhere, just turn down your volume for a moment as Gwelup getting us underway. Kicking to the right of your screen in second half, wearing their away all-black kit. And Cockburn, obviously, in their all-blue home kit as well, just as a reminder. So Salinger will go forward, playing in the centre of defence with Mitchinson moving to the left-hand side by the looks of it. Now Andrew Scaldaferro remaining on that right side, so Salinger at the back with Govan, so a little tactical tweak there for the visitors. And needing to ensure that they come from behind and get a result tonight if they are to maintain their spot at the top of the division. A very competitive league this season, the NPL WA. Sampson forward for Mitchinson, clip into the area, header is away by Baker. And clearance only as far as Govan, who'll turn and return that back to Sampson, who's back defending. We will bring you those results around the grounds once we do get a break in the play, but first McManus, he's got Scaldaferro outside of him, comes inside instead, does Sean McManus, rolls into Daniel Steins, and now Hargreaves will cross in dangerously, and it looped off the back of Tellez, I think, and Radonic was able to gather quite comfortably. So elsewhere at the moment, 70 minutes in, Sorrento 1, Balcatta 2, and then these are scores as of half-time. Bayswater 1, ECU 1. Obviously 1-0 here between Cockburn and Gwelup. Floreat 2, Perth Glory 0. Inglewood 1, Rockingham 1. And Perth 2, Armidale 2. As Cockburn look to come forward properly for the first time in the half. Santic maybe just dallied in possession a little too long, and that'll allow McManus to release for Sinclair. Tellers was coming across. Sinclair still may run onto this. Saved by the boot of Radonic for the second time tonight. Sinclair in behind the defence once more, and got to say that's really smart goalkeeping from Cockburn's stopper to save with the boot once again. Daniel Stein sliding in well. Christian Santic will turn, look up, find the feet of Liam Murray, just bounced off him slightly and then sliding in on Hargreaves in desperation to win the ball back. There's nothing malicious in that tackle at all from Murray, who was just a little over exuberant to win it back, and the referee saw it that way too. Mitchinson. John Steins. Ball looking for Sinclair off his chest. McManus was central and waiting on the edge of the area. Didn't break to him as he'd like in the end. And now Cockburn will try and launch the counter-attack forward. Woodcock, scorer of tonight's goal so far. Just touch was a little heavy from Araya. Gwelup really going for that early releasing pass on more than one occasion in this first 5 minutes of the second half, trying to catch Cockburn off their guard perhaps early in this half. Edwards. Good looking switch to play for Woodcock, who's well and truly onside here. He's going to have to wait for support to arrive in the middle. Now two do come. It's Murray Anderea still dancing his way into the area. Woodcock and winning a corner kick. Spent a couple of seasons playing in the NPL in New South Wales, did Riley Woodcock, Sydney United and Sydney Olympic, alongside having his A-League contract at Sydney FC as well. And he did well to win a corner, which will be taken by Sancic. Arriving was Tellez, and at the back post, and nodding over, I think that was Stevens. And it just bounced awkwardly in front of the central defender, but it was a good opportunity for the home team to double their lead. Daniel Steins looking for the run of brother John. Daniel Steins tenacious in the challenge once more to try and win it back. Hargreaves, McManus slipped, managed to still get it back to Steins though, who looks to tease one in. Sinclair. Oh, he's been Gwelup's most likely responder tonight. 3 or 4 good chances for Gwelup's leading scorer. No luck so far. It was a teasing ball into Sinclair. He just couldn't quite wrap his head around it and get it on target. Baker's pass, a little wide of Woodcock and in a touch. Scored the winning goal at Dorrien Gardens a few weeks ago, did Brecken Baker. One of the young players who's come through the ranks. He played 22 games for the under-20s last season, did Brecken Baker. Last touch there off. Baker will present throw for Gwelup on halfway. McManus, Hargreaves slipped on the ball, and Woodcock was really good in winning possession back for the home team. I say I've been really impressed with Cockburn tonight. A lot of energy, a lot of technical ability as well, particularly in the middle of the park, and they've done really well to force Gwelup to play down the flank so far tonight. Leaders who'd be usually wanting to get the Steins brothers on the ball have had to play largely through the fullbacks and through the wide players instead. Steins flicking ball across there. Daniel Sancic was putting a boot in and winning the ball, and in the end Tellez says, let's put a thought through it and let's try and just press up a little bit. We're dropping a bit deep. Sancic, time to turn here. Now he's got David Araya running forward. Sancic took on the early strike instead, and the pass was there for Sancic to feed through. It was wide open in the heart of that Gwelup midfield in front of the defence. I just wonder if that was a better pass Well, decision from Santich there. That may have presented Araya with a really good opportunity. Still on the front foot, though, Cockburn, as Murray. Nice centre-forward play there to hold up the ball and maintain possession, bring his teammates into the game and try and get Cockburn back on the front foot, because they've had to defend for the majority of this second half so far. Leading by that goal to nil provided to them by Riley Woodcock in the 17th minute. Capitalising on an error miscommunication in Gwelup's back four. Back four, which was previously the best defence in the league going into tonight's game. A very uncharacteristic error. Visitors will have to do some defending again here as the Cockerels win a free kick. Santich and Edwards stood over it. Chance to get some bodies forward. Delivery was disappointing initially. It ran all the way through for Baker, but he was offside in trying to come back and get on the ball. Possibly fancied his chances there again, did Breckin Baker. Sampson. Trying to get the better of Ali Galami, who sticks a foot in there. Sampson comes out on top, though, and he'll look for the return pass, but I think it's going to run away from him. It is. It's just not quite clicked properly in that final third for Gwelup Croatia tonight. League's leading scorers before tonight. That's not to say they've not had good chances. Steins over his head. Tellez heads forward for Cockburn. Woodcock. Edwards. Pressure coming from Daniel Steins, and that pressure was good enough to force a turnover to McManus, who thought John Steins was wider than what he was, and the pass was over his head and Daniel Sansich's head, and Cockburn will experience a bit of relief once more now. Another dangerous switch there, which came off on that occasion. Edwards. Nice turn. Galami. Daniel Santich forward. Woodcock. Santich leaving it for Daniel Santich there. I think he was hoping that his brother would continue his run. Woodcock. Foot in was good from Sampson. Hargreaves forward. Passes inaccurate again, though, and Tellez can stride away, but he gives possession away cheaply before being in the right place at the right time to win the ball back and make up for his initial error. That was good play from Julian Tellez, who's capable of playing both up front and in defence. Very handy player for Scotty Miller. Been with the club ever since the beginning of the NPL WA era as Julian Tellez. Also part of the team that played in the charity game for the bushfire appeal. One of the two players that were called up for Cockburn alongside of Jesse Lazaro, who misses tonight. Scored here 2 games ago against Sorrento in that 2-2 draw. Baker's ball forward. Murray will try and bring that down. Outnumbered in the end, and Mitchinson can clear forward. Now Daniel Steins. McManus to his outside. Uses the former Perth Glory striker again, and Gwelup try and just swing the ball from right to left. And a bit to change the angle of the attack. John Steins looks for the run forward from Mitchinson. Daniel Steins will look up, not see anything to pass to initially. Now Sampson can turn, but Edwards was standing him up, and Cockburn have got numbers forward now if they can attack. Edwards has got 3 ahead of him. One of them is Murray to his right. And then the pass was just a little in front of Edwards on the return. And now, if McManus can get away, there's plenty of space. He couldn't, though, because Santic was tenacious in winning the ball back. And now Woodcock will try and clip through. Murray. Araya. Invites Baker forward. Cockburn probing. That's a nice looking ball from Baker to try and pick out Araya, but it just ran away from him a little bit. And Taki Nicolaitis isn't 100% happy with what he's seen in this second half, and he'll try and just change the dynamic a little bit, freshen up the centre of the park, and it'll be Shubham Makala who enters the fray, the former Balcatta midfielder. He'll slot in on this right-hand side. He's played mainly in the centre of the park so far this season, but would be deployed in that wide attacking area. And making way for him is Sean McManus. Woodcock. Baker. Pass charged down by Steins, who looks up and brings Mitchinson into the attack. John Steins driving, blocked by Tellez. Nearly broke the way of Steins again, but Sancic read it a little better, and now Cockburn will look to counter again. They're going to get plenty of opportunities to do that in this half, you'd suspect, as Gwelup try and push numbers forward in a bid to chase the game. Araya. Sancic. That's Christian. He's got Woodcock outside of him. Sancic goes inside on his own instead, and then loses his footing, and Gwelup can come away with the ball. Hargreaves up the line, well intercepted by Baker. Makala, Sinclair, Sampson, Mitchinson. Plenty of space over on that left-hand side. Here's John Steins. He'll look to work his way onto that right boot, possibly crosses on the left instead, and Radonic dived on it. May have been sneaking into that near post in the end. Preserving that lead for the home side as Murray flicks on, looking for the run of Araya, who is playing a little bit closer to the striker in this second half. Baker lets it go over his head, almost invites Sinclair to the party, but the youngster does really well there to ensure that his team keep the ball. Still leading by a goal to nil, of course. Riley Woodcock with the strike that's making the difference so far, capitalising on a Gwelup Croatia error at the back. And as it stood at half-time, they were 4th on the live league table, but that'll change if Gwelup can find an equaliser. McCarla tried to poke through for Sinclair, and now Woodcock will launch upfield looking for the runs of Araya and Murray. Araya will slide in and try and win the ball, but the last touch was off him. And now Cockburn will turn to the dugout for the first time tonight, and they're going to make a double change here. It'll be Ryan Pratt and number 17, Fanuel DeWitt, to enter the field. Both of them come on, and coming off is Ali Galami and Liam Murray as well, who goes off to a short round of applause here. Obviously great to see Liam Murray back on the pitch, and Cockburn fans will be very happy to see that he's gotten through another hour of football tonight. 4 games in a row now, including the under-20s action that he is playing, and working his way up to that 90 minutes of fitness, which is tremendous news. Now Pratt will try and make an instant impact for Cockburn. They have got a couple of counter-attacking weapons on now to try and capitalise if they can, and now DeWitt will try and make an impact himself. Flick was off Pratt, and in the end Araya couldn't quite find a teammate with the poke back, and that will allow McCarla to drive forward with plenty of pace. He comes inside Edwards quite easily, looks ahead. Sinclair was offside. He instead had to check his run and go across goal, and Daniel Steins will just be able to keep that alive. Pass from Samson, so disappointing, and that's a nice early release here for Pratt, who's going to offer them a little variety in terms of an outlet to Liam Murray, who's more of your traditional centre forward, good at holding up the play and bringing his teammates into it, while Pratt will offer a bit more pace up there on the counter, and charging that one down was DeWitt, who's also been busy in his first couple of minutes since coming on. Govan was able to get it upfield, and now Sampson will switch out wide for McCarla, who's in plenty of space. He's going to have Scaldaferro running on his outside. Opts to use him eventually. Scaldaferro's cross is charged down by Woodcock. In fact, Baker. Apologies. And behind that goes for a corner. The 23 and the 25 mixing me up there. Gwelup corner, swung out by McCarla. Ball bounced off Stevens in the end. It could have gone anywhere. It ended up being cleared away upfield by Edwards, only as far as Sampson, whose cross nearly worked its way to Sinclair at the back post again. Got a little bit of defending to do here, the home team, as they try and get their shape back. They should be able to now, as the visitors retreat all the way back to Campbell. Steins, Sampson, little tickle for Scaldaferro. McCarla try and take on Baker, crosses a deep one, and it's too deep in the end. Cockburn happy to watch that one drift away to safety. Still leading by that goal to nil. Round 7 action. Live at Dalmatinak Park on a Wednesday night. Great to be under the lights. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Second half of this first phase of the season drawing ever closer. We should know a lot about these teams in the next game or two and what their aspirations will be in terms of who's going to make that top 6 and who's going to be fighting in that bottom 6 for that one place in the second phase of the competition. Scouter-Ferro. Another deep cross. Radonic calls loudly for that early and is able to make a pretty comfortable claim. And now DeWitt's got a little bit of space to counter on this right-hand side. Cockburn continuing to keep bodies forward to give him an outlet, but the pass was a little disappointing for Pratt. 2 substitutes unable to link up there. Tellez, a little bit of flair there from the centre-back. And then the pass from Santic was a little disappointing. Salinger forward. Baker got his head to it. A good foot in by Woodcock to win possession back, and now Edwards can find DeWitt, and that's a super ball there for Woodcock, who's waiting for support to arrive to the area. Cross was to the near post, and arriving late was Pratt. Was the only target in the penalty area for Riley Woodcock there. I get the sense we're going to have a real end-to-end feel about this final quarter of the game. Gwelup will be desperate to equalise to keep that unbeaten run going and to ensure they'll stay top of the table. Cockburn will be desperate to get 3 points to maintain a spot in the top 6, which they've held every week up until the start of this match, as Santic links up with DeWitt. Pratt was in the middle and the cross was once again a little too close to Campbell. Steins outnumbered by Edwards and Santic, who comes away with the ball. Uses DeWitt on his outside. Pratt. Araya. He'll fancy this, Araya. Deflected and looping, and in the end the shot was looping up and easily gathered by Campbell. Sting taken out of it, but we know how good David Araya's left foot is. And the aforementioned Araya fouls Sampson there in midfield. Free kick will be taken by Declan Hargreaves, ex-Floreat and Bayswater midfielder. Had a really bad run with injury a couple of years ago, Declan Hargreaves. He's back on the pitch now, though. He's played every game in the 2020 season in the heart of that midfield. Long from Salinger. Flick on from McCarla. It nearly worked its way through to Steins, and it was a timely intervention from Daniel Santic. Half a shout for a penalty from the Gwelup bench. Nothing doing, though. It looks as though Sinclair may have just lost his footing as he was trying to get on the end of that flick on from McCarla. Steins again. It's a deep one, headed away by Tellez there at the back post. Cross will come back in from Sinclair, and deflection fell nicely into the path of Radonic, who just waves the hand and holds the ball for 6 seconds and lets his team just press up a little bit, but the kick was really errant and will give possession straight back to the visitors. Good strength there from Baker to hold off McCarla. Normally these weekday nights are associated with the FFA Cup and the State Cup, but not tonight. A rare midweek round in the NPL WA, and it's been met with a lot of enthusiasm by a good crowd here at Cockburn tonight as McCarla's cross is charged down by Edwards, and that'll just roll out for a throw-in right next to that corner flag. Both of these teams have made a State Cup final, of course, in the past 4 years. Unfortunately, both on a losing side. Salinger's throw. Header was away from Woodcock. Mitchinson will mop up under the pressure of Sancic, and he has to go all the way back to Campbell. Hargreaves' pass put Salinger under pressure. Woodcock battled hard to get around the full-back and competing for the ball in the air. Araya fouls Hargreaves, who takes that one quickly for John Steins. Govan was making a run forward from centre-back. He's held his place forward in the penalty areas. McCarla runs at Baker, gets into the penalty area, crosses across the box. Daniel Steins goes to ground again. Nothing doing once more, and that was a really clean challenge there from DeWitt. Sancic gets there before Hargreaves as well, and now Cockburn can counter once more. They're 2-on-2 here, with Sancic arriving forward of the ball. Still going here is Pratt, and the referee blows his whistle. I think that's going to be a free kick for Cockburn, right on the edge of the area. And it was Govan who was tracking back the skipper, and I think he pulled back the jersey of Sancic there as he was advancing into the penalty area. I just lost a little bit of sight on what that infringement was for as I was watching the ball. What we do know, though, is that it will be a set piece for Cockburn, and as we said earlier, Christian Sancic needs no introduction from this range after what he'd done against Bayswater in round 2. Meanwhile, Gwelup will go to the bench for a second time tonight, and it'll be John Steins who's limped off the pitch off camera. A little bit of a knock, it seems, and on in his place is youngster Kian McGuigan. Will look to make an impact going forward, McGuigan, but first he's back in the penalty area and defending. As a set piece presents Cockburn with a really good opportunity to double their lead. Possibly favours the left-footed Araya. Both of these players more than capable from the dead ball, though. Wall marked by the referee. Sancic will strike, and it was always rising over Campbell's goal. And the reason it was rising was because it took a slight nick off the wall on its way through, which caught me off guard before, but Sancic will trot over to take the corner. All the bodies stay forward as they did before. Crosses into the near post. Punching was Campbell. And the last touch was off Pratt there, who was hovering on the edge of the 6-yard box. A little fortunate Campbell that his fist did go straight into the breadbasket of Pratt and bounce out of play. DeWitt's ball forward. Sancic will try and use his pace to get through here. He dived in on Campbell, who just got to the ball first to effect the clearance. Both keepers have swept pretty well tonight when they've been called upon. Baker's pass is cut out by Hargreaves. Still Cockburn City 1, Gwelup Croatia 0. Live on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook page tonight. Round 7 action of the NPL WA. Sancic. DeWitt's on the edge of the area, driving, and Mitchinson was in the right spot to effect the block. Pratt will hair after him, though, in hot pursuit. And in the end, Daniel Sancic has to put an arm on Makala, who switched flanks, to make sure the counter-attack doesn't proceed any further. So a second yellow of the night for Cockburn City. Daniel Sancic joining Brecken Baker in the book. Strong header by Stevens. Salinger possibly didn't realise that Christian Sancic was behind him. Now Araya. DeWitt. Started out wide, did Fanuel DeWitt. Now has just slotted himself into the centre of midfield. Looking to continue to plug that hole that we spoke about earlier. And now Sancic is playing higher up the field, and he was caught in between the sandwich of Govan and Salinger. And Salinger will go into the book for kicking the ball away, I think. And he'll join Blair Govan in the book. And that'll square the yellow card count at 2 apiece. Both central defenders in the book now for Gwelup, so they've got to be careful now going into the final 10 minutes or so. Once again, a good opportunity for Cockburn from the set piece. Edwards will lift to the back post. Tellez was waiting for it to arrive. It didn't come. It came back instead for Edwards. Woodcock forward, headed away by Salinger. Steins and Edwards compete for the play. Referee lets that one go on. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, and the releasing ball will fall to Makala on the left wing, but cutting inside, couldn't beat 2. Cockburn tracking back defenders, and now counter-attacking is Pratt down this right-hand side. He's just added that different dynamic in the final third for Cockburn since coming on, and now DeWitt is fouled by some desperate retreating defence from Makala. It's Gwelup turn to the bench for a third time. It'll be young Adam Fields who enters the fray for Declan Hargreaves. 18 games and 3 goals with the Balcatta under-20s last season. Adam Fields. Been in the squad 4 times, and he's back defending this set piece from Edwards. I'll tell you what, Campbell came for that and didn't get anywhere near it and ended up clearing out Tellez instead. Julian Tellez still down, possibly having felt the effects of that strong collision with Campbell. Just gathering his thoughts. There, Tellez gets up, looks a little groggy, but he'll jog back now and take his place in that Cockburn back four, which has held on so far against the league leaders. Scored in every game so far this season have Gwelup, Croatia. Cockburn are within 10 minutes of ending that run as Araya lets that last touch off field go out for a throw-in. Campbell's clearance forward. Trying to hook over his head was Govan, who's looks like he stepped into an auxiliary centre forward position. Down behind play is a field there, I think, who's down in midfield, in fact. I think it's Declan Hargreaves, so I have just got my wires crossed with a substitution somewhere, as I did say that Hargreaves had come off earlier. I think it was actually Andrew Scouter-Ferro who came off with Adam Field seemingly slotting into that right back position. Meanwhile, Mitchinson's long ball forward. Govan flicking on, looking for the run of McCarla, who desperately tried to keep it in play, couldn't do so. And that'll suit Cockburn just fine. The restart from Radonic. Off the head of Salinger. Field was in very strongly there on Santic. Daniel Santic's ball forward will run away from Christian. A little bit of urgency now about Gwelup's play. Sampson tries to flick on. DeWitt tries to outmuscle Sinclair, couldn't do so. Sinclair helped to win the possession back, and Daniel Steins was fouled on the edge of the area by Cam Edwards, I think, who was shown the yellow card there. We'll need to confirm that one for you a little bit later on, I think, but this presents an opportunity for Gwelup here. It's Daniel Steins, who's been on the set pieces all evening, taking them from the left and the right side of the pitch. This one's clipped in, headed on. Volleying at the back post there was McGuigan, who didn't quite catch it as he'd hoped, and that allowed Cockburn's defence to clear. Dropped a little bit deeper now of the home team, perhaps understandably. Salinger's throw. Clearance was from Woodcock. Pratt will try and hold up and buy a bit of time. It breaks down to Daniel Steins, who will sort of clip that one forward. Sinclair, and Tellez was across and screening the play really well. And then tries to rescue a goal kick, which wasn't there. Corner for Gwelup. Steins' ball. The header's away from Edwards. Pratt will try and get on it. McCarla finds McGuigan wide. And now Steins' secondary ball into the area. Headed away by Tellez. McCarla. Salinger. Hargreaves. McGuigan wide on this right-hand side. Clip into the area. Radonjic will shout and Radonjic will claim. You've heard him loudly tonight, Luke Radonjic. He's shouted for every ball and made it his own. Always crucial having that communication between the sticks. As Salinger's attempted clearance goes out of touch. And it's at the right end of the ground now for Cockburn as far as they're concerned. Woodcock's ball. Gets it back from Pratt and tries to buy a little bit more time, but last touch was off the goal scorer. A quick throw picked off by Sancic, who goes back in for a bite on Sampson and fouls former Perth Glory youngster. And now kicking the ball away was Woodcock, who goes into the book. A little bit of time wasting. All part of the gamesmanship of trying to hold on for that vital result. McCarla, Sampson, Sinclair, Steins, Woodcock should go to ground here. He does under the challenge of Governon, wins the free kick. He knew exactly what he was doing there, did Riley Woodcock. Got his body in between the ball and his opposite marker and won that free kick, which will buy his team a little bit more time. Forward from Radonjic. Header away from field. Ball forward from Woodcock. Sancic will get on the end of this and he'll try and just keep that in the corner, although Field does well to win the ball back, and now Gwelup will have to try and hastily get this upfield, but the pass from Hargreaves is straight at the feet of DeWitt, who probably just held on to it a little bit too long, and that'll give Gwelup a chance to counter here as McCarla drives forward. Good defending though from Edwards, who stepped in and showed some real leadership there, and now Pratt's got plenty of space out wide, and I'd be surprised if this was going to head anywhere other than the corner. It did instead come inside to Sancic, who is once again in no hurry and showing the party tricks. Crosses her deep onto the back post. Woodcock's there. The pick out's back for Pratt. Araya! The shot was tame and straight at Campbell. Campbell's clearance off the outside of his boot. McGuigan couldn't bring it under control, and in desperation of trying to win the ball back, fouls Edwards. Cockburn fans behind me with plenty of energy know their team is so close to a crucial 3 points here. A big win for Scotty Miller's young team. If they can hold on for this final few minutes, they've got a free kick, and this will be going Towards the corner from Stevens. Edwards. Woodcock. Forward from Baker. Sancic tried to tickle it around the corner. The last touch would have been off field had it gone out for a corner. And in the end, he has no choice but to put it out for a throw. Still the ball remains at the right end of the ground for Cockburn. Govan. Daniel Steins. Salinger. Is there time left for Gwelup? Salinger will pump this one forward. Tellez is in position A. It'll land at the feet of DeWitt, who took his eye off the ball when trying to swing the clearance. And that may allow McCullough to drive forward, but his touch was heavy. And that's a timely goal kick as far as Cockburn are concerned. The referee did have a look at his watch there. There can't be too much time left in this one now. Referee Arvin Shagmaganathan looks at his watch and blows the full-time whistle. A mammoth result for this young Cockburn City team, who win by a goal to nil here at Dalmatinach Park against the league leaders. The decisive goal. Well, how many times do we see it in a game of football? A game can be won on an error or a moment of quality, and unfortunately for Gwelup, a disappointing pass across the defence was miscommunicated between goalkeeper and defender, and that allowed Riley Woodcock to steal in and score into an empty net. He won't get an easier one all season. And in the end, that was all that was needed to give Cockburn 3 points, which will put them back into the top half of the league. And a top half of the table to which they want to be in, leading into that second phase of the NPL WA season. Gwelup, meanwhile, they'll have to lick their wounds. Always a tough place to come to. Cockburn, they did have their chances. Most of them did come through Hazani Sinclair, 2 of them in particular, denied by the boots of Luke Radonich, who was excellent in goal and marshalled that defence superbly throughout the course of the 90 minutes. They did everything right tonight, Cockburn. And make no mistake, this is a massive win and really underlines their credentials for the top 6 in 2020. But for now, it's full-time here at Dalmatinach Park. Massive result in the midweek round, round 7 of the NPL WA. Cockburn City 1, Gwelup Croatia 0. Thanks for joining us on the Football West YouTube channel and Facebook pages tonight. My name's Tommy Dolman. It's been great to have your company, and we'll see you at the weekend.